Hey parents, this is the second video in the New Parent, New Student Orientation series for Peak Performance After School program. So now we're going to talk about hours of operation, tuition fees, if there's any failed payments, the forms and paperwork that I need done, tax statements, late pickup fees, and again, I want to reiterate that we're not a daycare center, and we're also going to go over what our non-discrimination policy is. So let's start with the non-discrimination policy. Parents, I literally could not care what the color of the skin of your child is, what religious background you have, what your ethnic background is, how much money you do or do not have. None of that factors in to when I'm working with children. I look at the families, I look at where their strengths are at and where we need to help them grow. So I just want to make sure we're very evident about this. All the things we're talking about in these video series can also be found in the parent handbook. We're just going to get a little farther in depth with them. So hours of operation, so a standard hours of operation for us, we are typically in the office. The doors will open about 10 o'clock in the morning. The staff is there earlier training, so if there's an emergency, you can call us. But typically hours of operation will start at about 10 o'clock. There are some variances to that. If we're doing a day camp day, the doors will open at 7:30. Or if there's something going on, if we need to be there earlier, we can. But typically we are there to open the doors at 10 o'clock. So in the parent handbook, there is going to be an email address if your child's not going to be there that day. And we ask that you email us no later than by 1:30 that your child will not be there. And that email address is nochild@peakcedarpark.com. And so in the morning times, we're typically using that for staff development. We're going and training ourselves. We're working on child development type stuff. And it's just anything we can to improve the experience for the students that are in our program. So the tuition and fees are located inside of the parent handbook. I'm not going to cover them on this video because it will get a little diluted based upon if they're in a different program, they're in our peak performance program, they're part-time. But what I'm going to do is go over what they are for full-time, 5 days a week, brand new students. So the thing is that with our after-school program, unlike our competitors, we do not do an a la carte system. So they may sucker you in at, we're only X amount of dollars per month, and it sounds super cheap, but they don't cover professional skills program and everything that goes along with it. They don't cover day camp days, and Leander has more day camp days this year than they've had in the past. It doesn't cover any assistance with academic assistance, creative building strategy, or STEM. It's not all that. We just do an all-inclusive program. So our program covers their pickup, a daily snack, our full-blown beginners martial arts program, and that is included with the tuition. Now, if you're a peak performer, yours is a little different. But we're talking about just beginners. So that covers the martial arts program. Now, all of our martial arts curriculum is videoed. It's online. There's a syllabus that we cover every quarter. And so the children can never give you the excuse they can't practice or they can't work on their stuff or they forgot it or they don't know what to do, because all the videos are up there and they correspond with what we're teaching in class each quarter. All of the quarterly reviews that we do, they're included. Any belts, certificates, patches, awards they earn, they're included with the tuition. We have our Student Success Program. The Student Success Program works on building great responsibility in their life and self-sufficiency and self-discipline. And so there's rewards that are there for the kids to do, and then we have pizza parties each quarter for each of the kids that reach their goals. There's no testing fees or there's no belt fees. All of that is just included with the tuition. So if you go to other places, you need to ask them, what's the cost, right? What's the true cost? Not the advertised cost, what's the actual true cost? And we're giving you the true cost up front. During their non-physical development time, we have 2 classrooms. They're going to have academic assistance, creative building strategy, and STEM stations. I asked it inside of their take-home folder. If there's any programs that they can utilize online for academics, please put the login information inside of that folder so that we can get them online in our secured system. Tuition's $162 a week. You can pay it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. If you're a 3 or 4 day a week program, it's only $5 or less per week. And then for peak performers, you've already got your tuition rate. We've already given it to you. Now, if for any reason that a payment fails, you're going to receive an email and a text from us. Please don't ignore it. Please get out on immediately, because I don't want to have to charge late fees to any failed payment. So if you ever get a message from us, please take care of a failed payment situation right off the bat. You should have already received an electronic registration form area, a parent handbook, a credit card authorization sheet. All that stuff should have already been delivered to you. Please make sure all that information is filled out and it is ready to rock and roll, so we can get all that stuff back and be prepared long before the first day of school gets going. There is, inside of the parent handbook, is our tax ID number. I'll even give it to you right now. It's 261972487. And each week, month, bi-weekly, whenever a payment's being processed, you are going to get a statement that is automatically generated. My wife set it up that way, that shows you how much you've paid. You can take that receipt, take the tax ID number, and if you're doing your own taxes, great. If you're having a CPA do it, that's great too. Whatever way you do it, that way you can get your child care credit stuff going. Now, pickup time is no later than 6:30, Monday through Thursday, no later than 6 on Fridays. Now, for some reason you're running late, there's a car accident, something, just give us a call. I'm not going to be, real mean about it, but if it starts becoming a habit, like if we get 2 or 3 times where it's like we're being late all the time, then we're going to start charging a late fee. And the late fees are listed in the parent handbook as well. It's $15 for the first 15 minutes, and it's $1 a minute after that, because I have to pay staff to stick around and be with the children that are not being picked up on time. We'll just charge that right to the credit card on file. We've talked about this before, is that we are not a daycare center. We're exempt under the licensing provision for the state of Texas, being a professional skills program. Now, with that being said, please don't think that I lower the standards of what is required by the state. Our standards are actually better than what the state's requirements are for for our facility. So like in the state's requirement for training, daycares only have to have 8 hours of training for their staff. My staff trains a minimum of 4 to 5 hours every week on what we're doing each week for child development, walking through any challenges we're having with any children, how we help them cope with what's going on, especially post-COVID. A lot of these children are child development delayed, as I call it, and we're having to get their emotional, mental, social intelligence up and get them more confident on where they're at. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't discriminate based upon anything. The things I'm looking at that, kind of give me pause sometimes, or if I may ask a family to leave, is how parents are acting. Please understand that we are a martial arts school. The after school program is a benefit of that, being a martial arts school. They have to do their training inside of our program. It's not an option. Please don't pick them up early on their training days. If you've got appointments to set for dentist appointments or doctor's appointment, unless it's an emergency, please schedule it on non-class days. We do that for a reason, so that you have that. Or if they want to play another sport outside, they'll have that ability to play another sport or do another activity outside and still get their martial arts training. I've been doing martial arts for over 50 years, and I can tell you that it saved my life. It really helped me go through a real tough patch as a kid and as a young adult, and really kept me on the straight and narrow. And so I know that it'll do the same thing. If your child's playing baseball, football, basketball, soccer, martial arts will make them much, much better at that sport. It'll give them an upper hand. It'll close the delta. If they've got a teammate on their team that is just physically better than they are, their martial arts training will help close that gap. And so it's really super important that they're doing their martial arts training. In addition, please make sure they're doing their student success program each week. Yes, I know it's a little bit of work, but if they'll do that, if they're cleaning their room by themselves, they're picking up after themselves, they're taking care of their chores, they're reading each day, and they're doing their martial arts practice, not only do they benefit, but we benefit as well. Because one, you're not going in to give them a hug or kiss in the middle of the night right before they're going to bed, and you step on a Lego, right? Which is never fun, and it takes the love right out of the building, right out of the room really, really quick. So we want to make sure that if we can teach them these life skills now, think about how much better prepared as an adult they're going to be. So this is going to close out this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.